Hi, Austin. Can you hear me okay?
Ma'am.
Awesome. Well, I will give me 1 second to get you spotlighted for everybody, and then we will go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate your time ahead of the start of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here at Darlington Raceway. We will kick things off with Mike Kimbry. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, Austin.
Hey, how are you?
But we the Cup Series hasn't had any back-to-back champions since Jimmy Johnson's streak ended over 10 years ago. Kyle Busch, the only repeat champion in the series now. Do you think the playoff format has played a role in keeping guys from stacking up championships like happened not that long ago?
Yeah, I certainly think the format is significantly more challenging to win. It's how it is, and I think from year to year you see teams and drivers who are capable of winning races change. I mean, you see that changing, ebbing and flowing throughout the season. So doesn't surprise me that with a format that rewards winning races over anything else, overall odds, certainly that changes how you line up to be in the championship four.
The elimination races are Bristol and the Roval and Martinsville. Can you kind of rank those in order of difficulty if you find yourself in a position where you have to perform to keep advancing? One of those more difficult than the other for you?
I'd say Bristol has the most unknowns because it's really one of the few racetracks left that we at least don't have. The Roval, we have a test from there. Martinsville, we have a test and a race. Bristol has not really much data from any of the teams as far as what you got to bring to the racetrack. And, no one really has a notebook from Bristol. So I would say from a team and driver standpoint, that probably has the most unknowns.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take our next question from Stephen Toronto. Go ahead, Stephen.
Austin, with you having made the playoffs, as I understand it, you virtually clinched the Rookie of the Year title for the season. With that having been checked off and out of the way, a rookie driver has not finished in the top 10 in the championship standings since Chase Elliott in 2016. As you enter your first Cup Series playoffs, is that a item on your checklist as you try and kind of put a bow on what's been a very successful rookie season?
Yeah, I can't say I've really put a number on things, but certainly advancing as far into the playoffs as possible is where my head's at and where I think this team's looking for. And I think it's also something that we're capable of. I think we come into the playoffs with pretty low on playoff points, but at the same time, 8 points puts me fifth right now. So it's pretty tight. It's been a tight season, and I think execution and consistency has been at a premium. And I think those that are able to perform in that manner, I think that's where I have to have my mind. I think we're going to have to put 3 really great races to move on to the next round and start all over again. So with that mentality, I don't think there's much to lose and a lot to gain. Like you said, it's rookie season, and I'm only going to get better from here. We're only going to get better as a team from here. So I'm excited to see what we can do.
Your season so far has really been defined by you winning the Daytona 500. Now you've got another crown jewel in your hands, the Southern 500. This is your first try at that race. I know you've run Darlington 4 playing times in the Xfinity Series. You had a Cup start there back in May. What are your thoughts on trying the Southern 500 for the first time and entering this race as the playoff opener?
I see the Darlington Southern 500 being the biggest mental challenge I've had in my career, as far as races go, as far as race strategy. Obviously, you mix the playoffs into that. I think you get the length of a race, at least the mental focus you have to have, of the Coke 600, mixed with the discipline and the focus that you have to run long runs at Richmond, and you're on a knife edge, running laps at Darlington. So I think you combine all those, and I think it's going to be a pretty big challenge and something I'm excited to experience.
Good deal. Thanks, Austin.
Thanks.
Take our next question from Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Hey, Austin, I got a couple for you. So you were the first guy that was pretty sure they were going to be in the playoffs. You won the Daytona 500, which must feel like a lifetime ago. So is it nice to just get to the point where the playoffs are finally starting?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, last week was stressful for all of us at Team Penske, just trying to make sure we get all three of us in. And, really throughout, during the summer, still knowing that points certainly were important. So from that standpoint, yeah, it's a bit of a reset. I honestly feel mentally pretty good. I don't feel like there's much expectation plus or minus. So you just go out and try and put together three really great races and try and be consistent, try not to beat ourselves. That's an opportunity that obviously there's past champions that aren't in the playoffs right now. So from that standpoint, it's not guaranteed that I'll be in it next year or the year after or whatever else. So it's a great opportunity, and it's a great opportunity in my rookie season, and just got to do everything to make the most of it.
You said there about you feel mentally pretty good, but acknowledge that Darlington's going to be a big mental challenge. When you look at the Cup Series playoffs, what do you expect from that aspect? Just mentally going against guys you haven't competed against before, the intensity of the Cup Series, this naturally is going to be much different than what you experienced in the Xfinity Series playoffs.
Yeah, it certainly is. In Xfinity, I've really had, the last couple of years had quite a few playoff points. I'd probably have to go back to my first year in Xfinity and my first year in the Truck Series to kind of going into the playoffs with least amount of points as I have now. So, but from that standpoint, the field's super tight. Like I said before, I mean, you could look at it from, I'm three below and have some of the fewest playoff points, but I could also look at it 8 points puts me fifth. Think about how easy it is to gain and lose 8 points over 3 races. I think there's everything to gain for us right now. So I'm excited for that, but I think the ball's in each team's court for Darlington, because it's such an easy race to beat yourself, and it's such an easy race to get so far behind so early in the first round. So do our part to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, races still play out, they still wreck off of 2, and you still can get collected, but I'm looking forward to having a solid race and doing all the laps.
And lastly, I just wanted to ask, where is this team at? How would you evaluate this team? What are your expectations going into the playoffs? Do you have any?
I don't have any expectations. I mean, I got the same questions before the start of the season, what my expectations were for a rookie year. And honestly, I want to do my job. That's the only expectation I have, is to have a team that has all the resources and capability to be able to do that. And we've certainly delivered on a lot of occasions, and certainly having a great season. If you look back, and I have to give myself perspective sometimes that I'm racing around guys that are having career best years, and sometimes I want too much. So I think that's a good thing, but at the same time, I think the pursuit of being the best is what we're about here at Team Penske. So I don't think we feel like we've got that covered at the moment. So between the three of us, I think there's still more that we want to get. But as far as the 2-car, I feel like we're the best we've been so far. I think we've got a process down. The communication is certainly the best it's been. So I think all those things are important when I'm racing against guys that have decades of that experience.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Dustin Long. Go ahead with your question, Dustin.
Thank you. Hey, Austin, I know you've got a birthday coming up on Friday, and I'm just curious, although it's not as many as certainly others, but are there any particular memories, special memories of a birthday or a gift or something when you think back, whether it was last year or when you were 4 years old or something?
Yeah, I can't say. So you guys all know the show Survivor. My family is big into the show Survivor. So we would always watch every season. And when I turned 10, I had a Survivor themed birthday party. And we had all my buddies from school come over. We, everyone, had the bandanas and this and that, and had all the challenges. And we went all out. We went all out on the 10th birthday. And since my 10th birthday, that's been it. We don't really, I don't know if that makes us lame or whatever, but like, we don't really celebrate birthdays that hard. Sometimes I just forget that it's my birthday. But yeah, my birthday is on Friday. I did qualify on pole in Canada in the truck race on my birthday, so that was cool. But otherwise, it's just another day in the year, just another tick in the calendar. I don't know. I guess I'm not that excitable when it comes to days. I'd rather get excited about like Christmas or Halloween or something like that.
Okay, so what's so special more about Halloween or Christmas than the birthday?
I don't know. I don't like all the focus being on me in that sense. I mean, I'm a race car driver and I get to do all these other cool things. So I don't need a day for myself, I guess. That's not just me being modest. That's kind of how I feel. Like I'm not somebody who takes compliments very well. And that kind of falls in the same category of like, oh, everybody just caring about me for a day. So I'd rather just, have a nice dinner and, move on. September 3rd, no one gives a crap about you anyway.
One other thing, just about that 10th birthday. So what were some of the challenges and the food? Was it a case? I'm assuming it was just regular food, or did you guys go all out in terms of anything that would have been on the challenge on that show as well? Or
I'm trying to remember what some of the challenges. They're certainly not. I mean, we only had an evening. It wasn't a full 26 days or however long that show lasts. My mom would certainly remember because she's definitely the crafty one. She was certainly the master of a lot of this. But I do remember there always used to be the food challenge in Survivor where you had to like eat the gross foods and not like throw up. I think we did like a certain extent of that, not too far. But I do remember one where you had like the Oreo on the top of your head and you have to get the Oreo in your mouth without using your hands. Probably more like bar games than anything else, for a bunch of 10-year-olds.
did you get it, the Oreo?
I did. Pretty good at that one. I'm pretty dexterous. I've got good dexterity with my tongue, which don't read too far into that, but it's just a talent, I guess.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, we'll take our next question from Nathan Solomon. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you. Thanks for the time, Austin. Outside of a couple races with incidents this summer, you really had a very consistent summer. And why do you think that maybe you've adapted to Cup better than some of the other rookies this season?
Yeah, it's certainly hard to say, speaking on, other guys and what their experience level is and how they've done. But I do feel like, you look at the guys who've moved up over the last couple of years, and I feel like there's been a pretty good wave that's come through the Xfinity series, probably the last 4 or 5 years. And I feel like I've had the opportunity to go into my rookie season in Cup probably as best prepared as anybody could be, with the level of Cup experience I had before this season, the number of years I had in the Xfinity series and working with the same team. So I certainly feel like I was set up for success in that sense. So big credit to Team Penske for not only putting the faith in me, but also, the right steps in place for that. So from that standpoint, I feel like I certainly had that opportunity and feel like I've taken advantage of it. But as far as, this summer and leading in the playoffs, yeah, like you said, I think we've been really consistent. I feel like there's been a few races, Pocono and Watkins Glen coming into mind, just races that I feel like I've could have done a better job, and kind of a good wake up call heading into a race like Darlington. What I do behind the wheel executing is certainly important and certainly plays a massive role to our success during the weekend.
And now following up on a couple of earlier questions, but Xfinity, obviously shorter playoffs, different kind of set of drivers. How do you approach the Cup playoffs differently than Xfinity, or is it more of a similar mindset for you?
I think it is a similar mindset as far. I mean, the same amount of cars get eliminated, just it got an extra round. From that standpoint, I say all that's fairly similar. Just your competitors are different. I would say the biggest difference between Cup and Xfinity is that in Cup, there's a strong likelihood that you are racing against guys that aren't in the playoffs. Whereas in Xfinity, you're racing all the guys in the playoffs, so everybody's getting stage points. So there's really small margins to gain. Whereas in the Cup Series, I feel like there's probably plenty of times you're not going to get stage points. Anytime you get stage points is a big deal, whereas it's kind of expected in Xfinity with the field that you're racing with. So I think it's just the depth in the field that plays that role. But those stage points really make a large difference in making rounds, advancing from rounds in the playoffs.
And then my last one, kind of in contrast to that, there's 4 of you, I believe, that are in the playoffs for the first time, including yourself. And I think 2 others that are in their second playoff run. So a lot of guys that you've raced with in the past in the Xfinity series. Is that an advantage for you as you go through the playoffs for the first time in Cup?
Anybody else who has a little experience with me that's along for the ride is probably an advantage, or maybe at least common ground.
Thank you.
right, we'll take our next question from Mitchell Brewer. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Austin, as previously mentioned, you have that Rookie of the Year title pretty much locked up. Just wondering what that award means to you and the ability to add your name to the list of winners that have previously won that award.
Yeah, it's one of those things you only really get one shot at having. So in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, I didn't get that. So getting in the Cup Series is certainly a big honor. And like I said, you have one opportunity to do it in one rookie season, and it's certainly been a big positive. So that's certainly one box checked for the year, but certainly higher aspirations from there.
And obviously a big part about being a rookie is earning your fellow competitors' respect. Do you think that being in the playoffs helps with that, or do they still see that yellow bumper and just assume the worst?
I walked into the shop today. I got 3 yellow stripes on the back of my car now. I got 1 for the playoffs on the spoiler, and I got 2 on the bumper. So I'd like to keep 3 rookie stripes for as long as possible, and I think that will pay dividends for what you just described.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our final question from Brendan Carroll. Go ahead, Brendan.
Okay, so this is your first Cup playoffs. Blaney and Logano have been doing this for a long time now. What advice have you gotten out of them? I know they're also in the playoffs, so it's kind of like they can't really give away all the secrets.
I can't say I've really received any advice. So from that standpoint, to your latter point, there's some truth to that, but at the same time, I can't say I've really asked. But I think the biggest thing is just doing it race by race, lap by lap. From there, I think it's easy to put a lot of pressure on the situation with the opportunity that's there. I mean, we're talking about a shot to win a championship. That's only a few race wins away from being capable for somebody in the 16 field. So from my standpoint, it's another race. It's another week, just like Daytona 500. It's the biggest race of the year, but it is also just another race on the calendar, and you got to treat it as such. And remember what's gotten you here. Remember the process. Trust the process. But from there, yeah, no real additional advice.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, Austin, thanks so much for chatting with us this afternoon. Good luck this weekend at Darlington, and happy almost birthday.
Cool. Thank you, Sam.